Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard this morning here on this Monday as we crank up another full week of fun and frolic.
Yes, and a little bit of a rainy morning this morning. I will say though,
On the cool side,
yeah.
It's supposed to clear up today.
And the new portion of
70.
I-16 has been opened.
Really?
The bridge, yes, right before 516.
Wow.
So
Okay.
that is open, new traffic power there,
That's another
pattern
one of
there.
those
So
three-year projects they've crammed into 5.
yes,
That's
well,
what I
they still have a lot of work to do in that area, but the eastbound side has been opened, so that's kind of exciting. I got to go across that this morning. So
There you go. All righty.
yeah,
Inauguration.
yes. So hopefully it will help with traffic. We shall see.
And in case you didn't know, there's still stuff going on in the Middle East.
No way.
Just a few things. Yeah, just a few minor items as the Israelis have decided it's going to be no more Mr. Nice Guy. They've tried the nice guy approach for way too long, and it's come back to bite them in the butt. And now they're going in and they're saying, we're going to get rid of Hamas, which, great idea. And I mean, get rid of Hamas.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize how complicated it is. However, this Hamas was voted in as the government on the Gaza Strip. So honestly, they've used people to, be human shields. They've, done things out of hospitals and out of schools and things like that so that Israel will not go back and attack them because they know that there are civilians in those buildings.
Well, the peace-loving Muslims are real good at this human shield stuff, hiding, rocket launchers and all in hospitals and schools. And then when we go and hit those targets, the lamestream media plays right along with the left and says, look, they're bombing hospitals and schools. Yeah, well, there's a good reason for it.
Well, and I think that interestingly enough, I do think that there is some fallout from this war, and I think that people that have supported the left that are Jewish are starting to realize that maybe they don't stand with them, and that there's a huge issue on the left with anti-Semitism.
Yeah, sure is. And so, American Jews, you need to wake up. That was one of my biggest surprises when I did my show from Israel. When we were going back, and it was 2004 when George Bush was running for re-election. And I knew I had Jewish friends here, far left, big Democrat supporters, some of the pillars of the community here, supporting all Democrat candidates and big Democrats and going to conventions and things of that nature. And got to Israel expecting the same thing. And having supper like the first night, and one guy turns to me and he says, I sure hope George Bush gets reelected. And I said, excuse me, I thought I've lost my hearing for a second. What? He said, yeah, oh yeah. And I'm sitting with the editor of the Jerusalem Post saying, good God, let George Bush be reelected. I said, you need to talk to your American counterparts, okay? Because they're a bunch of left-wing loons.
Well, I think that people in the U.S., we do have it pretty good, and I don't think that they really follow what policy is being put in place and how it could go against them. So, I mean, it's interesting, Bill, the way that it works in other parts of the world. They really care about what's happening in the U.S., where here in the U.S., we don't care. We like to live in bliss, and we do not
well, I
necessarily...
think it's like any other, like ripe fruit. We're this great country that's, where everything was just hunky-dory. But what happens to ripe fruit if you let it just sit there? It gets rotten in a hurry.
Sure does.
So this is what has happened. We've had 2 generations practically grow up with no war, basically, other than, just these minor skirmishes across the ocean. And we've not had to make any sacrifices. Even in Vietnam, we didn't have to make many sacrifices here. We had a lot more soldiers involved, and there was a lot more publicity about it. But still, we were not, as a kid, I don't remember, like I said, on numerous occasions that, Mom was always telling me all the rations that they had to do during World War II and plant your own victory garden and everything else if you wanted some fresh produce, because most of it was going to the war effort overseas. Because we were fighting a war, remember, on 2 fronts. We were fighting a war in the Pacific and a war in the Atlantic, Europe. So that was a lot different times, and of course, and everybody was behind the effort. There were very few anti-war people. If there were, they sure kept their mouths shut, and if they didn't, they might have, somebody just turned around and knocked them down and went on about their business.
Well, and
they
I
didn't
think
threaten to sue anybody.
Right. And I think we're seeing the anti-war stuff here in the U.S. because we were just in a war for 20 years. Really my whole adult life we've been at war. So there has been sacrifices by the military men and women and their families for sure. But as far as here on the U.S. soil, absolutely, we have had it good for a very long time. And I do worry, Bill, with both now Israel and Ukraine, what we're going to see come of the U.S. military and where we're going to end up, because we have people on the Republican side. There are a bunch of war hawks that love the fact that we're probably going to end up in war because guess what? It probably is going to benefit their pocketbook.
Yeah.
And it's just really sad to see how many people are pro-war, and honestly, how many people on the left are pro-war.
All of a sudden.
Yeah, it's very strange.
They're very anti-war for years and years when it didn't suit their purposes. Then all of a sudden they become pro-war when it does.
Yeah, well, and Lizzie Warren says reports of 20 children tied up in the back of a room and burned to death. There's a lot of reporting coming out of Israel and the Gaza Strip that is just horrifying and stuff that you can't even imagine.
No, the peace-loving Muslims strike again.
And we had plenty of protests here in the U.S. over the weekend, including here in Savannah. I don't have any footage of that, but I did see a few photos. Not sure how many people were there. They said a couple dozen, but I did avoid the area for obvious reasons. But
I understand pro-Palestine march from Forsyth Park through some of the squares downtown. I hope they enjoyed the view.
Yeah, well, and in San Diego, they had people just going after this woman, took her Israeli flag, and started trying to. They took it from her, and then they started, getting into a fight with her, and we have a little bit of that here.
Yeah.
You're hitting me. Stop hitting me. It's going to escalate. Stop hitting me. Stop hitting me.
Stop hitting me. That works well.
Yeah, these people are out of control. And, why are they saying, cover the camera, cover the camera? What are they worried about, Bill?
Yeah, I thought you wanted the publicity.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
thought you were proud of what you were doing.
There is no reason to touch another person or to grab any of their property. Peaceful protesting is one thing, but these people are, they are animals, Bill. I've never seen anything like it. It is the millennial generation. It's, the people a little bit younger than us. But, man, these people have there's so much anger, and I don't know where it comes from.
Well, to a degree, and I blame video games and things of that nature and social media for years and been criticized by the so-called progressives. But there's no doubt about it. When you play some sort of a game and you kill somebody and then you reset it and they're alive again, and what we've seen for the bullying and everything else that goes through social media, because you're anonymous, you can do this. And so now you think you can do this in real life, and this is what happens.
Yeah.
So is it okay to talk about what the sleeper cells?
Yeah, so we're hearing a lot of talk of sleeper cells here in the U.S. We have some footage that probably will shock you, and I bet you can't guess where this is located.
Yeah.
I will be your soldier. I'll be your supporter. Be your biggest lover. I promise to make them like melody. It's but of my engagement.
Sound like they're singing the national anthem to you?
No, but something that they are saying is, I will be your soldier, I will be your martyr. And what U.S. city is this? Houston.
Houston, Texas.
Yeah, imagine
Texas.
that. Imagine that.
Yeah. So there you go. The peace-loving Muslims who sacrifice their children. This is something that, again, I couldn't, when I interviewed Itamar Marcus when I was in Israel, and he was running a pro-Israel website and was making speeches in some of the universities here. In fact, he had just spoken at UCLA about a week before I had a chance to interview him. And they protested him. He showed videos of these camps, children's camps, that they had named for kids that they had sent to martyr. They'd sent 12-year-old kids out with bombs, bombs strapped to them, and blow themselves up. And the parents are proud of this. They're happy about this. They're naming the kids summer camps for these kids, and making them into heroes and martyrs. And he's showing that he shows this video. Actually, the UCLA Bruin, the school newspaper, actually printed an apology about the protest to Marcus. And it was because you couldn't deny what you were saying. It wasn't any AI in those days. I'm talking almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So you couldn't deny that this was the real stuff. And these kids were shocked at what they saw and what they heard, and that camps were being named, children's camps were being named for other kids, 12 and 13-year-olds, who'd blown themselves up to kill Jews.
It's horrible, Bill.
It is disgusting.
And I think it's hard for us in the U.S. to even imagine, that being normalized.
This brings up another interesting point. How young were those kids? Looked to me like 6, 7 years old at the most in some cases.
Yes.
Why do you think that the public schools, with all the communist propaganda that's going on in our school, why do you think they're going after the kids with all this transgender crap and all of the other and the BLM stuff? Because they know that if you indoctrinate the kids, this will go with them through life.
Yes.
They'll grow up to be communists and whatever
radicalized
ideologies and radicalized. And it's in fact, most of the psychologists and psychiatrists will tell you that by the time you're 12, you formed most of your political views or your ideology in life.
Yeah.
So that's why they're going after doing the twerking sessions in kindergartens and everything else to normalize their lifestyle.
Yeah. And Lizzie Warren says, OMG, Houston. Yes, that was Houston.
Yep.
And Mary McCann Hybrider said, this is assimilation. Absolutely shocking. Mm-hmm. This is why we do need to be very firm on our borders, and also that there has to be a form of assimilation into our country. This concerns me to the point that I don't know, how do you walk this back, Bill? I mean, I don't really see how the problem is so big.
I know.
Right now.
It's going to take time, but it is like you and me to fight, and that's the reason this next election is so important, because as David Horowitz says in his book, The Final Battle, this may be our last election.
Yeah, and Christina Benjamin said, check your pension and investments and make sure none are invested in Iran. Advice from a California commissioner on World Prayer Network who spoke last night. Mm-hmm. Talk to your financial advisor, see what's kind of going on with your stocks. But man, absolutely shocking stuff that we're seeing going around, not only the world, but this country. Like I never expected to see something like that coming out of Houston. And apparently it's all over the U.S., not just in Houston, but that's just where that video was from.
Well, the president was on with Scott Pathetic on 60 Minutes last night, and he's still in denial that Iran has anything to do with this. Well, surprise, surprise.
We'll be talking more about that when we get back.
Yeah, stay around, stay real.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was, and that they had come to us because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Are you a mom or dad? Do you have little kids with big dreams? Well, hopefully your kids aren't white or Asian, because if they are, they will have a very hard time getting into their dream college or landing their dream job. Top schools and corporations are run by left-wing Democrats, and they openly discriminate against whites and Asians. So even if your daughter has the best test scores, even if your son has amazing grades, even if they spend extra hours studying and doing everything right, it won't be enough. Unless you suddenly discover that you're part Cherokee, or transgender, or in the country illegally. Otherwise, your kids are out of luck. Which begs the question, if Democrats are hurting your children, why would you ever vote for them? Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Happy Monday.
Yes, and what a Monday it is, right?
Yeah, got a cool week coming your way here. Only going to about 70 degrees today, and the temperature is going to be pretty much the same. It looks like pretty sunny, at least for the next few days.
Yes.
It clears up.
So perfect fall weather.
Yeah, for sure. Meanwhile, we got perfect fall guys. And
Yes.
We were just talking about the President Joey. He's in denial, of course, as he's talking.
Joey sounds way too endearing.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well,
I just can't do it.
Yeah, on with Scott Pelley on 60 Seconds yesterday on CBS, the Communist Broadcast System. And
are the wars in Israel and Ukraine more than the United States can take on at the same time?
We're the United States of America, for God's sake. The most powerful nation in the history, not in the world, in the history of the world. The history of the world. We can take care of both of these and still maintain our overall international defense. We have the capacity to do this, and we have an obligation to. We are the essential nation, to paraphrase the former Secretary of State. And if we don't, who does?
Just write those blank checks.
yeah, you've done enough to destroy it for the last 2.5 years.
Here's the thing, Bill.
Cutting the military, cutting off our oil supplies. What kind of idiocy is this? Because one of the things that would help stop this war in Ukraine would be to turn on the spigots again here.
Yeah,
What do you think? Putin is making a fortune selling oil at $81 a barrel.
Well, and here's the other thing, Bill. These are territory conflicts. They're border conflicts. We have no interest, except for the fact that our politicians have been laundering money through Ukraine for years. That's the only real issue I see that we should be involved with, or why they want to be involved, because it makes no sense for us to be involved in this Ukraine stuff. And all we're doing is fueling both sides of the war, and we're making our politicians richer. We're making, the people selling all of the weapons on the black market richer.
We're running out of ammunition.
Yep. And then Mary McCann Hybrider says the entire interview was a political commercial. Disgusting. 100%. And Steve Stanton Sr. is with us this morning, and he said the Dems have designed it not to be walked back. Just look at DACA. Yeah, I mean, I'm just not really sure how we got here, Bill. Like, I feel... well,
we let it happen.
Well, I didn't.
Well, I know. But I mean,
but generations
overall,
before me, yeah.
Who we voted for, and the lamestream media that is nothing more than the publicity arm of the Democrat Party.
Well, and here's the other thing, though. I hear a lot of Republicans, and everyone's going to be mad at me for this, but they're mad about what's going on. They were mad in January when you had people that refused to vote for the speaker until they got some rules changed. Now they're mad because of the shenanigan that is going on now. And I don't mean shenanigan in a bad way. This is the government. Everything's a shenanigan with them.
True.
But, Matt Gaetz, you have someone in Florida, I can't think of his name right now, but he came on camera and he said, because of what Matt Gaetz did, I will not vote for Jim Jordan. I'm sorry. Get over yourself.
Really?
Get over yourself. This is not about you. It's not about Matt Gaetz. This is about what's right for the American people. And
what's right for the world.
Well, and Jim Jordan, most Americans want Jim Jordan as the speaker.
Exactly.
What other option do we have? I mean, I think that, what is his name? Austin someone from Georgia. What's his last name?
Powers.
No. He just lost the speaker vote on Friday. Also, why are we off on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday? I mean, it seems like they're getting more days off because there's no speaker. I mean, why don't you get to work and elect someone? The other thing I have a problem with is who are the 50 that refused to vote for Jim Jordan? They should not be allowed to do this behind closed doors. I don't like it.
Yeah, if there's ever a time to be united, I'm glad these people weren't around when Pearl Harbor was bombed. We'd be speaking German over here and on this side of the Mississippi, and Japanese on the other side.
Yeah, and Lizzie Warren says our representatives believe it's their private club, and we are just inconvenient details.
Yeah,
100%.
For God's sakes, get behind Jim Jordan, get him elected, and let's get on with it. Some of the rules I don't understand. Because we have a speaker pro tem. Why not? He's the speaker until we get the other guy. Just like the vice president or anything else, they're in charge until you get the other guy.
And he is in charge. He's the one sending everyone home all the time.
Yeah.
And it's Patrick Henry from South Carolina is the speaker pro tem.
Yeah.
McHenry.
Yeah. It's easy to say Patrick Henry because we're familiar. We're familiar with. Well, those of us who went to real schools know who Patrick Henry is.
Yes. So, Bill, I'm very frustrated by this argument, and I know that you and I disagree a little bit on what happened last week, but the other thing that people are asking Matt Gaetz is, will you vote if the speaker the motion to vacate speaker is up to more than one person? And he's like, yeah, if we can negotiate the fact that you're banned from lobbying after you get out of Congress. Like, he wants some ethical reforms done, and he's like, yeah, I'll negotiate.
Yeah.
And
they're trying to make even some of the Republicans, even some of the people on Fox. I was shocked over the weekend were really casting aspersions on Gaetz, and I didn't like it.
Well, but here's the thing: the Murdochs, they are not American. They're not Americans, and they don't understand. I don't think they understand the way this works, and I think that they want to control the narrative. And the narrative is Matt Gaetz bad, Kevin McCarthy good, because McCarthy has stuck with the status quo. And I think the American people are done with the status quo. We've had enough. It's been going on since the 90s, them being able to just pass whatever bills they want, and these omnibus and these CRs, and they don't govern. They don't legislate the way that they should.
It's been going on longer than the 90s. And I don't remember the last time we actually had a budget. It's been that long.
It's a problem.
The last time we had a budget, maybe when Newt Gingrich was in there.
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
And that was the early 80s. But there's really nothing to worry about, I guess, with all of these people coming across our border. Or Christopher Wray,
Uh-huh.
the FBI director, who should have been fired a long time ago. If we had any backbone, then he made that. He keeps telling us everything's just hunky dory. But we do need to worry about something.
We remain committed to continue confronting those threats, both here in the United States and overseas. In this heightened environment, there's no question we're seeing an increase in reported threats, and we've got to be on the lookout, especially for lone actors who may take inspiration from recent events to commit violence of their own. So I'd encourage you to stay vigilant, because as the first line of defense, protecting our communities, you're often the first to see the signs that someone may be mobilizing to violence. I'd also ask you to continue sharing any intelligence or observations you may have, and on our end, we're committed to doing the same so that together we can safeguard our communities.
Association of Chiefs of Police.
I am so glad that he is concerned about safeguarding our communities when we're letting 7 million people into the country that we don't know who they are.
Well, we know that we have hundreds of people that have ended up on the terrorist watch list that are now in the country, which is exciting and fun for everyone.
Yeah. We just know we've captured a few of them, but what about the ones that got away? I'm sure that probably of the 10% we got, the 90% are still here, and they're going to wreak havoc.
Well, here's the other thing, Bill. We all know that they have developed a system of avoiding getting caught. We saw last week how they were smuggling drugs in. They just go to like another checkpoint. They have these ladders that they use. They have a whole operation. And Biden has welcomed this. I don't care who you are or how you look at it. He has welcomed this.
Exactly.
He's created the border crisis. And people are like, oh, he's building the...
When they were coming across, when he first got in, when they were coming across with Biden T-shirts by the thousands. Where'd they get those?
Well,
Who paid for that?
We probably paid for them.
Of course we did.
And these NGOs that are helping, they're just as guilty, Bill. I mean, I've had enough of these people.
Corporate America, wake up. You are corporate America. Remember that.
Well, and here's the thing. Buy local. Buy from people you know.
Exactly.
Buy from, do the best that you can. I know that Amazon is super convenient, very easy to use. However, you're supporting Chinese, you're supporting... What did Bezos buy? The Wall Street Journal?
Well, no, the Washington Compost.
Oh, okay, one of them.
Yeah.
Washington Compost.
Yeah. Which, by the way, just laid off 250 reporters. Because they are losing. They are swimming in red ink. The only reason they're publishing now is because Bezos bought them and was supporting them with Amazon's money. Yes.
Well, I hate to see people lose their jobs. However, the reporters that are working at some of these places are not reporters. They are narrative builders, which I think are two totally different things.
They're propaganda machines.
Yes, you're a lot.
You can tell by their questions. You can tell by their attitude, or the lack of their questions, what they won't ask and what they won't talk about, and they will make up stories. They'll fabricate stories. In fact, you get Pulitzer Prizes now for making up stories.
Well, here's the thing. The second that Obama got his Pulitzer Prize or his Nobel Peace Prize, it discounted it because what did he do? Nothing.
No, he got it because he was black.
And elected president.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I think Christina Benjamin said, "Is Etsy better than Amazon?" Yes, it is. Those are actual retailers that are private businesses. I think Etsy is a much better option. I do know that Public Square is coming up with kind of an Amazon-type feature. It shows you what companies are pro-America. They won't agree to vaccine mandates. They are traditional. They believe in American values, traditional American values.
Yeah, and what gets me with Amazon, I will try to order something, and all of a sudden it goes to an Amazon site. I said, I don't want to order this through Amazon. And as I go, I say, I really need to get this, so I'll go ahead and order it. What's your password? What's your account? I don't have an Amazon account. You sent me here. Send me the damn book. Jiminy Christmas.
Oh, it's always fun. And right before we jump to break, Mary McCann Hybrider says the entire border crisis is being funded by our taxes. I don't remember voting for this. Our government is created to serve and protect the American people. This is treason. And Lizzie Warren says, and what happened to Amazon's 2-day delivery guarantee? Well, that went out the window, didn't it?
Yeah, boy.
You can never depend on Amazon getting there when it says it will.
Mm-hmm.
And then Christina Benjamin says, thanks, Public Square. Yes, continue to support them. They are doing really big things. I think that we're going to see a lot of things come from Public Square that are going to support patriotic American values.
So talk about that. Our good buddy Stratton Leopold back in town, the guy that makes the best movies and the best ice cream in the world. We'll drop in and talk with him in a few minutes. Stick around. Stay real.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934, with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
When I grow up, I want to work for a woke company, like super woke.
When I grow up,
I want to be hired based on what I look like
rather than my skills.
I want to be judged
by my political beliefs.
I want to get promoted
based on my chromosomes. When I grow up, I want to be offended
by my coworkers
and walk around the office
on eggshells
and have my words policed
by HR. Words like
grandfather,
peanut gallery,
long time no see,
no can do.
When I grow up,
I want to be obsessed with emotional safety and do workplace sensitivity training all day long.
When I grow up, I want to climb the corporate ladder
just by following the crowd.
I want to be a conformist.
I want to weaponize my pronouns. What are pronouns?
It's time to grow up and get back to work. Introducing the #1 woke-free job board in America, redballoon.work.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
God, we still use it. Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
And glad to have you aboard here on this Monday morning. Here we are, what is it, 16th day? We're halfway through October already.
Yes, and early voting starts today for the city elections.
It
Woohoo!
certainly does. So get out there, vote early, vote often.
Yes,
Right.
and tomorrow is election day for David Tootle. Make sure if you live in District 2 here in Savannah, go vote.
Please
if you
do.
know anyone that lives in District 2, call them and tell them to go vote for Tootle.
And this all has to do with, it doesn't matter how many votes they got in the last time. It is all turnout for this one. So Republicans, for God's sakes, turn out, get David Tootle in there.
Yes. Great opportunity for us to have another conservative on the county commission. We need more, not less. So,
meanwhile, right across the river, our friend Lindsey Graham, senator from South Carolina.
No friend to other Republicans, but a friend to himself.
Yeah, that's right.
He always has something to say, and he drives me crazy, though.
Well,
he drives me crazy.
here's his latest on how to help save the country.
As you know, he also criticized Prime Minister Netanyahu as well. And a lot of people saw that as a personal attack because Netanyahu has recognized President Biden as the duly elected president. Do you think that's appropriate at this moment?
No, I thought it was not helpful. And President Trump has a lot to, he recognized Israel, Jerusalem as the capital. He recognized Golan Heights as part of Israel. He put in place the Abraham Accords. That's what I would back. No, I wouldn't criticize Bibi. He put out a statement a couple of days ago. I stand with Bibi. The House, I know we got a lot to talk about. If I were in the House, I'd vote for Jim Jordan tomorrow. He's a good man, but we need to get a speaker.
I want to ask you about the House, but are those comments disqualifying for the former president to be attacking America's closest ally in the Middle East when they have just undergone this attack, the largest attack against Jews since the Holocaust, Senator?
I'm not here, I haven't beat on Biden a whole lot. Is his policies toward appeasing Iran, withdrawing from Afghanistan and looking weak in the eyes of Russia, are they disqualifying? We'll have an election. President Trump was a strong president. They were afraid of him. Iran was afraid of him, and Russia was afraid of him. We've lost deterrence. We need to regain it. I'm not here talking about the 24 election. I'm talking about destroying Hamas in a way that will make Israel safer and the Palestinian people freer.
And as you know, right now, as you just mentioned, the House of Representatives unable to take any action to help Israel because they are in this state of paralysis. You say you would support Jim Jordan. Here's what Congressman Michael McCall said, the Republican chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. He called this situation dangerous. Do you worry it makes the United States vulnerable on the world stage that we don't have a Speaker of the House, Senator?
It could be. Now, we had a meeting 2 days ago with senators, ranking member and chairman with the White House. Here's what's coming out of the Senate very soon. A big package for Ukraine. To my House colleagues, if you strip out Ukrainian aid, Russia will keep going. There will eventually be a war between NATO and Russia, and it will be a green light to China to invade Taiwan. So to the Republicans in the House, if you pull the plug on Ukraine, you're going to create more war in Europe. China will go after Taiwan. To the Biden administration, you don't need Lindsey Graham just saying we're coming after Iran. You need to say.
Lindsey Graham, hot take. I don't know. I think that he is definitely, he must be making money off these wars because he is so pro-war, it isn't even funny. He's always pushing more money to Ukraine, and we're going to hear more money for Israel. However, one of the things that they keep saying is that we need to have a Speaker of the House to give money to Israel. That is factually false. We have a special relationship with Israel. They get money from us regardless.
Exactly. So let's. But the fact is that they know that when they say this, that 98% of the people aren't going to look it up.
Well, they don't know. They trust that they trust these people, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But Lizzie Warren says, and if you didn't vote in September for David Tootle, you can vote tomorrow. So just get out and vote. And Lizzie Warren, every time I see Lindsey Graham, I see a photo of a fish flipping and flopping on the ground. Me too. A really big, large fish. And Lizzie Warren, he is so eager to have the meet the press journalists like him, which is very true. Lindsey Graham, he is. I don't know.
Like you as long as they're on your side.
Yeah. Well, and
look how they fawned all over John McCain, and then when he ran for president, he got thrown under the bus faster than they threw Hillary under the bus when Barack Obama got in the race back in 2008.
Yeah, and Mary McCann Highbreeder says Graham is a warmonger. Absolutely. And also the stuff that they're saying about Trump. What Trump said was that he believed that the person, I can't remember his name, the guy that's the head of Hamas, that he was very smart. Obviously, they were able to pull off an attack that rumors or reporting has said that has been planned for over 2 years. They've been planning this for 2 years.
Being very smart does not mean that you're complimenting them. The fact that in other words, you don't ever underestimate the intelligence of your enemy. It's exactly what he's trying to say.
Yeah, he didn't say Hamas did the right thing and that killing babies was a good thing. He didn't say any of that. He just said these people are smart.
That's how they try to twist. Yeah, that's how they try to twist this, because this was a brilliant maneuver that either neither our intelligence officials and Mossad didn't know about this, and the way that they were how they came across that wall, how they took out the checkpoints, the security. This was well planned. It was well financed. And those American weapons they were using, they got from Afghanistan, are working great.
Yeah, thank you, Joe Biden.
For real.
That's the other thing. People need to own this that voted for him. This is what we're getting. We're getting wars breaking out all over the world. We're getting so I heard over the weekend that also people in other countries, you know what country they're most worried about because we've been so irresponsible with our money? That would be us. That would be the United States. Other countries are starting not to trust us. They don't think that we're stable. And that's going to be a huge issue for us moving forward, especially if we keep writing checks to people. We just cannot do it.
And how your allies, what do our allies think? When the Afghan pullout was a monumental exhibit A on how well we back these people. It said, this is what they do to their friends. Why are we friends with them, or why do we trust them anymore?
Exactly. And Mary McCann Highbreeder says the leader of Hamas did this with the help of Iran. Biden is either a liar or clueless. And Lizzie Warren says, exactly right, Brittany. I don't blame Biden. He's doing exactly what he said he would. I blame the people who voted for him. They hired Biden.
I believe that he is a both.
Yes.
Meanwhile, let's take a look at the home front.
Yes.
If you've ever had Leopold's ice cream, you don't want anybody else's. That's for darn sure. greatest ice cream in the world. And Stratton Leopold, his family started this thing over 110 years, about 110 years ago. And it's been wonderful ever since. Stratton now runs the ice cream store, but before he reopened it several years back, he had gone into Hollywood and had become a producer of some major motion pictures: Mission Impossible 3, The Sum of All Fears, The General's Daughter. The list goes on and on. And so he kind of has he kind of wears two hats. Had a chance to track him down just recently, and we're going to hear more about what he wants to do. But there's a new movie that he's got coming out, and also just how things have spilled over into the ice cream business. And a chance to talk with him last week.
I mean, it's a crazy time in the film business for sure. The entire distribution model that I grew up with and knew, in terms of you made a movie, you had a distributor, you went to the theaters, and that was that. It's all turned on its head because the streamers have a need for so many films. And you have so many people making movies for not a lot of money, with iPhones, with what have you, and selling them for not a lot much more, which messes, and if you professionally make a film, you spend a bit more. And it's tough to get it financially sound. Now, the film I just produced, we have Beau Bridges starring, we have country music themed, we have Lee Brice is in it, Pam Tillis. It's a good movie. So now we're going to distribute theatrically in theaters in selected cities with the thought it will attract an audience which A, will increase sales, but B, may enhance future sales. So that's our model right now. And we had planned to do it, a big premiere in Nashville, since we're country music themed.
Right.
So now with the strike, the actors could not do publicity. We could have gotten an exemption, but it puts the actors in a bad place. Because then if they chose to do it, their peers may or may not think highly of them for breaking the strike, basically. So we're looking at February now, looking at a few months away, thinking, A, the strike will be over, which I believe it is. It will be. The writers have settled. The actors, I feel, will settle by then. So we'll be clear with that. And we're looking at which weekends may have less competition for us in the marketplace. So it's an interesting time. And you know, there's similar things, similar challenges and opportunities, both in ice cream. For instance, every business is having team staffing issues. Especially if you need someone with experience in a certain area. I don't know. Well, for us, it's a little bit easier. We can train, but for a restaurant that needs chefs and cooks, I mean, it must be hell for them because they need people who are trained, and it's problematic, frankly.
Yeah. At the same time, we're talking about supplies too. I mean, I'm sure that there are certain flavors that you can't produce at certain points, or because of the lack of the whether it's caramel, no, you make your own caramel or something, but whether it's blueberries or anything of that nature, chocolate.
It is a challenge. We've been blessed not having, although we have had challenges, but not nearly as much as other industries. Ours has been mostly in equipment. But if I'm buying new equipment, I can't get it when I want it because they can't make it because of their challenges. That's been the main thing. And of course, the cost of goods, cost of heavy cream. The cost of cream for us last year went up 27%, I think.
Good heavens.
So, and you end up having to absorb some because you can't keep passing it on. The ice cream cone, it's an ice cream cone, for God's sake. You can't start charging
$75 for it.
Can't break a bank for an ice cream cone. So it hasn't come down a tiny bit, but not much yet. Hopefully that'll change. But it's not just us. It's every business has the same challenges. I have friends in the catering business, and their food costs are just crazy. So
Yeah.
it's true everywhere.
Yeah. What's the new movie called? What's the name?
The new movie is called The Neon Highway.
I like it already.
Thank you. The reason that title was chosen, it's an original screenplay. The reason that title was chosen, because in country music, your career often begins on the honky-tonk, in the honky-tonks on US 41 near Nashville, and oftentimes it ends there too. So that's why it's a two-lane road. It's a good cut line. I can remember that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. But that's why. Bo Bridges does a masterful job, and plus, it was the nicest guy in the world. He and his brother both. His brother's not in this, but Bo, they're just lovely, lovely people.
Great people. Did you know his dad, Lloyd?
No, I did
You
not
didn't?
know his dad,
Yeah.
sadly.
Yeah.
Although my friend James Cromwell, the actor, he and Bo grew up together in L.A.
I'll be darned.
So I was talking to Jamie, and they're friends. I said, well, hell, let's all get together. Come down to Savannah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Stratton Leopold, we have a lot more to talk with him about in the movies he'd like to make that people want to see. There not a lot of special effects. We're not doing car chase scenes. You don't need car chase scenes in every movie, and that sort of thing. Just real life stories. And he's got one that's coming out, or at least that they're working on. I think he's pretty much got it financed now. About a young Chinese kid who befriended Marines in China in the Second World War and got caught up behind the bamboo curtain when Mao Zedong took over. And the story of how he managed to get himself out and over here when those Marines came to the rescue for him. It's a fascinating story, and I hope he gets to make that movie.
Yeah, and I think people are really starving for films like that, and just that real human aspect of
Good
movies that we're missing.
Family
Yes.
entertainment, okay, but you don't have to. Doesn't need a parental guideline, and you can take your 10-year-old to see it.
Yeah, well, and I watched one over the weekend that was very well done. It was probably more of an adult movie, but it was a story of redemption of someone that had gone to prison for. He had been drinking and he ended up killing someone. He went to prison, he did his time, and then kind of full circle. He ends up taking care of a woman that ended up having his child, and it was just a very endearing movie. And there was a lot of adult content in it, but however, it was really well done. And you don't hear about movies like that, Bill.
Yeah.
You're hearing about, I don't know, the movies that I saw in the theaters this weekend. I was like, these do not even sound appealing to me. They're killing the movie theaters. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and the theaters aren't happy about it.
No.
The theater owners.
No.
All right, coming up next.
Well, we have some good news that happened out of Louisiana over the weekend. So excited to talk about that.
And also the rooster that was haunting Garden City City Hall.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Have you ever boarded a plane and thought to yourself, I hope the pilot is a transgender refugee? Have you ever gone to the emergency room and said, I hope my medical team is incredibly diverse? Have you ever moved to a new city and said, I hope the police department hit its equity goals for the year. If your answer to these questions was no, if you just wanted the most qualified candidates for the job, then you are normal. But we have a lot of very not normal people running America these days. Left-wing politicians believe skin color or gender identity should determine who gets the job. Democrats used to care about the middle class. Now they just care about your race and your gender. And as long as Democrats stay in power, it will just keep getting worse. Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a ride. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard this morning as we head down the home stretch for this Monday.
Yeah, and we have a couple comments here. One is Christina Benjamin. She says, people voted for Biden, true, but let's not forget the coordination that ensued, and the count of the votes stopped and resumed with a Biden lead and the January 6, 2021 coup, a.k.a. Fedsurrection as well.
Yeah, that's
and
for sure.
Steve Stanton Sr. says, absolutely a great guy when it comes to Stratton Leopold. And Mary McCann Hybrider says, liar in chief.
Yes.
So
she's not talking about Stratton.
No, definitely not. She is talking, of course, about Joe Biden.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some good news that happened in the state of Louisiana over the weekend. We have a new Republican governor, Jeff Landry, and man, people are upset. They are mad at people that did not show up to vote, but he won without a runoff. They have the same rules as Georgia. He won with 52% of the vote, which is hard to do. If you live in a runoff state, it is very hard to do that. So congratulations to Jeff Landry. And this was part of his speech.
Mm-hmm.
Speech to the crowd. Love Louisiana. Because I love Louisiana. You know, I want to tell you, I want to bring you back just a little bit. I want to let you know, when I was young, and I know my father's here, and he probably won't remember this, but he gave me a book when I was a young teenager, and it was kind of odd because most of the books that were shoved to me came from my mom. But he gave me a book about the Acadians. He gave me a book about the Cajuns, and when you open the preface of that book and explain the 300 years that the Acadians were here in Louisiana, it said that there were three tenets that the Cajun people live by. And it was God, and it was family, and it was country. But I don't believe that those tenets just belong to the Cajuns. They belong to everyone in Louisiana. Because Louisiana people are people of deep faith. In fact, we've got over 7,000 houses of worship in a state of only 4.5 million people. Because we know that all things are possible through God. And tonight is one of them. And God has blessed this state, and God has blessed our people. And then it's about family. You know, tonight, I want to thank my family. My wife and my son. They have endured unbelievably grueling schedules and an environment in politics that has reached from the national stage to the state level. And Sharon has stood as a rock.
So wrapping up his speech a little bit there, it was quite a long speech, but we just took a snippet of that. Very exciting news for Louisiana. If this is any indication of how 2024 is going to go, bring it on.
Sounds like a good old Cajun boy. Now,
Yes.
And
Well,
if you're not familiar with the comedians like Jerry Clower, go back and look them up, Google them, or go to YouTube and take a look at some of their comedy and listen to some of their comedy routines. These guys are hilarious. And Justin Wilson, the famous Cajun comedian, is one of the funniest ever. And kind of talks like this guy does.
Yes, and Lizzie Warren says, and New Zealand elected a conservative government as well over the weekend. One thing that did happen, which I was sad to see, is that Poland went left. So very sad to see that, especially since their prime minister was so great in the last month talking about why Poland is in such great shape right now. So. Miriam Can Hybrider says, if conservatives turn out, you will win. Come on, District 2 Savannah. Vote tomorrow for Dave Tootle.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we thoroughly endorse Dave because of his conservative values. He stands up to his left-wing community. He had his Trump flags torn down, burned 3 or 4 times, and he just kept putting them back up. He said, you're not going to intimidate me, and this is the kind of guy that you need serving you as a public servant.
Yeah, he's not afraid to pick a fight or stand up for what he believes in.
Exactly right.
But I will say he does listen. One of his friends is, a Democrat here, and I think that shows a lot of his integrity as well. As he's like, she's still a person. They're still very friendly, even though they disagree on a lot of topics.
No, it's you don't just because you disagree politically, and I've never let this involve in a friendship. I've talked to you about these. People that I said were Jewish folks on the left here, Democrats, and 2 of my very best friends are Jewish and as far left, about as far left as you can get, but without being just crazy. But still like them, and we're still friends. And if there was ever a friendship that seemed to be that really shouldn't have been, the guy who among others, I'm having a Biden moment here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wish I could save you. I don't know where you're going with it.
I know you don't know where I'm going with this, and frankly, all of a sudden I didn't. But nevertheless, the
2 justices. Is that where you're going?
Well, there were 2 justices. Well, yeah, Darth Vader Ginsburg, and who's the other guy? Staff? Okay, fine.
No.
Yeah.
Someone knows at home. I know that they do. It's not Scalia.
Yeah.
Is it Scalia?
Yeah, Scalia and Ginsburg were good buddies. Just at about the opposite ends of the political spectrum, as you can imagine, but they were there. But there are others, and I'll get to it tomorrow when I can look it up. Okay, and we can conclude it there as we conclude with as Halloween is approaching. There's a haunting in Garden City Hall, and here he is.
No idea where he came from?
No, but his days are numbered, Bill.
Oh, Lordy. That is so funny.
Off the air, and say, "Do you know you're off the air?" Oh no, I didn't have the first clip. Yeah, of course we knew we were off the air. Got all sorts of alarm bells and everything else that goes off when the transmitter goes down. But thank you for your concern. I don't know what the latest update is. We'll find out. But they wanted to get the rooster trapped. They had a big trap set up for him. They get him in there is the next trick, and then take him to. They have a farm that they can take him to. But he's probably, if he's still there, he's probably out there crowing.
He's a pretty rooster, though.
Yeah, oh,
he's very
beautiful.
pretty.
Yeah, big bird. Some people had actually wanted to take him. One lady was getting in the car, was trying to get him in the car with her. and they went over and said, "What do you want this?" Or he said, "I want to make a stew out of him." I said, no, that's not acceptable.
Well, and roosters are not typically very good to eat. They're very tough.
It depends on the rooster.
Yeah. Well, and the older they get, the less you want to eat them.
Exactly.
So,
like anything else.
Yeah, but interestingly enough, glad they have a rooster out there. That keeps things fun and interesting. Even though I bet you people are terrified as well to go into the building if the rooster is there.
There's some people that we're a little upset by the rooster out there. Why?
Because it's nature and it's natural. Yeah. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. When you go to Puerto Rico, they just have chickens everywhere. Like they're just wild chickens wherever you go. Mm-hmm. So it's normal. It's okay for animals to be out and about. It's okay. And Lizzie Warren says, to the farm or the crock pot?
He may be, he may be deputized, but this all came about. We're going to start a series called Meet the Chiefs. We're going to introduce you to the police chiefs around Chatham County. We're going to start with Gil Ballard in Garden City, a good friend and a great chief, and with a great and Garden City has a fantastic police department. So with that, we say thank you very much for watching today, and please help us out. We ain't here if you ain't there, and we certainly won't be here if we can't get some donations and help. If you know somebody that has a business, if you have a business, please. Our rates are extremely reasonable as opposed to the television stations. So please make a donation to us or help advertise with us so we can stick around, because we're here for you.
Yes, so make sure you go to thelocalspin.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Stay real. And remember, you can't spell Democrat